tough.
Our final panelist in this round for speaking for strategies for neighborhood revitalization during financial crisis is Cecil Thomas. Cecil Thomas is a current city council member who has served since 2006. He is a retired Cincinnati police officer and former executive director of the Cincinnati Human Relations Commission. He is a graduate of the Cincinnati Police Academy. Mr. Thomas is endorsed by the Democratic Party and lives in North Avondale. Welcome.
Thank you, and welcome to everybody. A neighborhood is only as strong as the city that it exists in, and a city is only as strong as the neighborhoods that exist in that city. To that end, I want to speak a few things about our neighborhoods. First of all, I love Cincinnati, and you all are fortunate to be living in Cincinnati. It's a wonderful place to live. We are a diamond in the rough. All you have to do is come across the expressway to Cutney Hill and at night and look at the skyline of the city of Cincinnati, and it's breathtaking. And that's what you have here in the city of Cincinnati. And we're going to have a new building called the the structure that's going to, the beautiful structure, the tallest building in the city. That's just going to highlight our skyline. But on this issue of crime, I took over as chair of law and public safety in 2006, actually 2005. And I vowed to bring crime down. In 2006, we had record homicides, 89. In September of 2006, there were 70 homicides in the city of Cincinnati. I instituted a methodology called SERVE, Cincinnati Initiative to Reduce Violence. I'm happy to say that as of September of 2009, there were 46 homicides in the city of Cincinnati. We have brought the numbers down almost 35% since I put this initiative in place. So we are doing well in crime. When you talk about what we're going to do for our neighborhoods and things, what you're seeing on the ballot, folks, this year, all of the initiatives that are on the ballot, Issue 9, vote no on Issue 9. We need to begin to do it now. Back in 1929, they had a vision to build a subway here in the city of Cincinnati, but they gave up on that vision. They started it. We all know it's down under Central Parkway. They gave up. If I say to you all now, if not now, when? If not who, then who should do it? If it's not myself and other members of council. The reason I say that is because that's phase one of building a system, which will eventually be a light rail system. So we want to do it. We want to think about that. Don't sell our waterworks. I don't want to see that. I want you to vote yes on the schools. You know, we need our education system. We need to better, you know, people are not going to live in the city of Cincinnati if the education system is not one of the top in the state and the country. Our museums, all of that's important. So vote yes on the museums. Mental health, please vote yes on mental health. The libraries, we need our libraries, folks. Vote yes on that. That's what makes neighborhoods strong and cities strong. And when you're getting into some of the taxing, oh, I got 15 seconds. Bottom line, folks, is you got a wonderful city. We've done well. We're growing. Our population's more than what it was when I first took over. So I urge all of you, continue to support your city. We're doing much better than what you all think.
Mr. Thomas, do you view Cincinnati as a safe city? If so, specific examples. If not, ways to improve.
I view the city, obviously, as a safe city. Since I took over in 2005, we've had crime trending down ever since. Every neighborhood in the city of Cincinnati, the crime statistics are going down. Our city is safe for this reason. Every neighborhood has a problem or some problems in their neighborhood, but those are pockets of problems. It's not the entire neighborhood itself. All too often, neighborhoods get a bad rap when something happens terrible in that neighborhood. First thing people say, oh, that's an unsafe neighborhood. I don't want to live there. You know, but that's just not the case. I spent 27 years in law enforcement. I know every neighborhood in this city. I've worked in every neighborhood in this city. I know that every one of those neighborhoods, anyone that lives in those neighborhoods know that they can go out and go for a walk in their areas and not have to really worry about anything. They know that. But there are pockets of problems. This is why we have put a methodology together that focuses directly on a data-driven approach. Research, look at exactly where is the problem in that neighborhood. And once you recognize that, you focus all of your strategies on that problem. Thank you.
Mr. Thomas, You mentioned schools. I realize that City Council doesn't have a direct say over the Cincinnati public school system, but the schools are a key element of success in our neighborhoods. I see an increasing number of young families that are actually buying houses in Cincinnati to take advantage of the flexibility and diversity of the city schools. In fact, a recent article in the Business Courier named 10 neighborhoods in the entire metro area that had increased housing values, and 3 of those neighborhoods are in Cincinnati. Matter of fact, the top one, Kennedy Heights, was huge above all others in Cincinnati. And yet I continue to hear politicians and elected officials in the city badmouth the schools all the time. And so I see this conflict. How do you think that the city and the school systems can work together to improve the neighborhoods?
You know, I agree with you. It drives me crazy to hear folks badmouth our school system. I'm a product of the Cincinnati Public Schools, and I believe Mr. Young is a product of the Cincinnati Public Schools. And it wasn't so bad then. And yes, we've had some problems in our schools, but we have worked very hard to turn our school systems around. One of the areas that we have focused on the council is to have quarterly meetings with the Cincinnati School Board, and to talk about issues of how we can collaborate together. One of the areas that we're focusing on right now is the community schools. All the new schools that we're building now, we're connecting them to our community centers, so that when children get out of school in the afternoon, they don't have to just go into the streets. They can go to the community center, which is right in the same vicinity, and get tutoring for their subjects or whatever, and do all those good things and feed them and all that good stuff. So it's working.
Back in 1999, a charter amendment was passed that allowed us for the direct election of mayor. At the time, people said that would increase accountability at City Hall and improve its functioning. Do you think it has improved its functioning, or do you approve abolishing the position of city manager and going for a more executive type mayor?
I think it has improved the quality of service that we provide to our city through the direct election of a mayor. However, you have somewhat of a hybrid system. You have a mayor, but you also still have 9 members of council that are directed at large. And those members of council make decisions. The mayor has veto power. And but when you look at what we're doing, when you're working as a team, a mayor, a city manager, and a city council, you get things done. It's just that simple. And you're able to turn down those things that may affect your budget. For instance, the budget, education, somebody recommended taking money from education. Somebody recommended the homeless, taxing the homeless. Somebody recommended closing rec centers and pools and things of that nature. Well, we still have the power as a council to come up with some common sense suggestions and recommendations, and to pass those. And working with the mayor, we're able to get that done. It's just that simple. Thank you.
The last question for Mr. Thomas. You mentioned that since 2005, crime rates have reduced in the city of Cincinnati. Can you give us specific ideas of what you've personally done to reduce those rates?
Absolutely. Back in 2006, I began dialogue with a gentleman by the name of David Kennedy, a professor out of Johns Hopkins University of New York. He had a methodology that I thought would work well here in the city of Cincinnati. That methodology was the Cincinnati Initiative to Reduce Violence. By him coming to Cincinnati, we now have a methodology that allows us to look at our young men who are the most vulnerable to serious violent crime, possibly homicides, and we look at them, and then we look at them in a way that maybe we can help you turn your life around. So the SERVE initiative does exactly that. It brings the individual into a scenario where he looks good at himself, as opposed to looking at him as a thug or a criminal. And in doing so, we've turned a lot of these young men's lives around. Thank you. Let me say this. You know, I said I've worked in every neighborhood in this city. And I'm gonna tell you the neighborhoods I've lived in since I've been in Cincinnati: West End, Walnut Hills, Avondale, Bond Hill, Mount Airy, Westwood, North Avondale, and Lincoln Heights. I've lived in all of these neighborhoods. I understand the neighborhoods, folks. Working and living in these neighborhoods have allowed me to say to all of you, don't let anybody define your neighborhood for you. It's each community, they define it for themselves. Lower Price Hill is fighting very hard now to keep Queensgate Terminal out of their community. They don't want their children breathing the diesel fuel, and the council is still struggling. I've said no. This community defines what they want for their neighborhood. A 3C rail system was planning to put a station in front of Adams Landing by the boathouse. That's the Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati connection. And they were going to put a station right there. And the people said, oh, no, we don't want to breathe that diesel fuel. These were Adams Landing, the rich folks. And all of a sudden, they found another alternative very quickly. So they won't get that there. We got 15 seconds. They won't get their terminal at Adams Landing, and the same thing should be afforded to the people in Lower Price Hill. And that's so vote for me. I'll be around.